Welcome to Bram, where the past comes alive. Picture this. You skip breakfast, sip your black coffee, and tell yourself you're basically a caveman. Disciplined, primal, living like your ancestors did. They would think you'd lost your mind. Most people don't know this, but the actual ancient diet has almost nothing to do with what your gym bro is selling you. Skipping a meal wasn't a lifestyle choice 50,000 years ago. It was a countdown. Now picture this instead. You're standing in a camp at dawn, stomach twisting, no fridge, no delivery app, no guarantee food exists today at all. Just you, the land, and whatever you can find before your body starts eating itself. That's not a diet. That's a completely different relationship with food and with time itself. Here's what nobody tells you when they slap the word paleo on a protein bar. This isn't just about ancient menus. What humans ate before agriculture, before cooking was even consistent, is older and stranger than most history books bother to cover. It might also be the single reason we're here at all, while dozens of other species aren't. Because the secret wasn't strength. It wasn't some warrior diet or instinct for the hunt. It was flexibility. Eating whatever existed, whatever was available, whatever kept you alive until tomorrow. That was the strategy. Not purity, not discipline. Pure, unglamorous adaptability. So what were they actually eating? The answer starts underground, and it's not pretty. Researchers studying Neanderthal teeth from Shanidar Cave in Iraq, remains dating back roughly 50,000 years, found something nobody expected. Trapped inside the dental calculus, the hardened plaque that builds up over a lifetime of eating, were starch granules. From tubers. From roots pulled out of the ground. Not mammoth. Not deer. Carbs. The species we've spent decades painting as pure club-wielding carnivores were apparently doing something closer to roasting vegetables. And not occasionally, regularly enough that it showed up fossilized in their teeth. Think about that the next time someone tells you carbs are the enemy. Ancient humans didn't avoid starchy roots because they were trying to stay lean. They hunted them down because those roots were the difference between surviving winter and not seeing spring. This matters more than it sounds. Neanderthals predate modern human presence across much of Europe and Western Asia, which means the meat first, hunt everything image we've built around our own ancestry isn't just oversimplified, it's backwards. The foundation was always plants. But starches alone couldn't wire a growing brain or fuel a body through real physical stress. So where were the actual calories coming from? Bugs. That's the answer nobody wants, but here it is anyway. Anthropologist Frank Marlowe spent years studying the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer societies on Earth, and one of our closest behavioral windows into how ancient humans actually operated. What he and his colleagues found consistently was that insects and larvae weren't a last resort. They were a staple, reliable, calorie-dense, and available in a way that large game simply wasn't. This was only confirmed more broadly in recent years through archaeological analysis across multiple African sites, and it changes the entire picture of what daily life looked like. Because here's what the heroic hunter myth leaves out. Big game hunting failed. A lot. It was dangerous, exhausting, and wildly inconsistent. Grubs, termites, and larvae, on the other hand, didn't run away. They didn't gore you. They just sat there, packed with fat and protein, waiting. The survival logic wasn't bravery, it was abundance and low risk. Every time. Meanwhile, today, people are paying $12 for a cricket protein bar and calling it a wellness trend. It's not a trend. It's 100,000 years old, and your ancestors would find the price tag deeply offensive. But even bugs and roots weren't the strangest thing on the ancient menu. In 1938, researchers began excavating Paisley Caves in Oregon. Decades later, analysis of coprolites found there, fossilized human feces, dating back around 14,000 years, gave us something remarkable. A direct chemical record of what people actually ate. Not what tools suggested. Not what animal bones implied. What was literally inside their bodies. And it wasn't prime cuts. It was marrow. Organs? Scavenged remnants from carcasses that larger predators had already worked through. This one discovery quietly rewrote everything we assumed about ancient food culture, because it showed that early humans weren't selective hunters who earned their meal. They were opportunists, efficient, unsentimental, and completely waste-free by necessity. The marrow came first, actually. Crack the bone, get the fat, survive another day. The muscle meat, the part we consider the real food, was secondary. Sometimes it wasn't available at all. Today we trim organ meat off grocery lists and toss bones in the bin without thinking. The parts our ancestors prioritized above everything else are the parts modern food culture decided were gross. There's something quietly absurd about that. But here's what makes this the biggest shift of all. The entire cultural story we tell about ancient hunters. The clean kill, the best cut, the primal feast, is a modern invention layered onto a much messier, smarter reality. So, if none of this matches the myth, what does that actually mean for how we eat today? Remember that camp at dawn? Stomach growling? No guarantees. Now you know what actually happened next. No mammoth chase. No heroic hunt. Someone dug up a root. Someone cracked a bone against a rock and scraped out the marrow. Someone checked the rotting log for grubs and considered it a good morning. That was breakfast. That was survival. The real ancient diet wasn't about eating right. It was about eating anything all the time, just to see tomorrow. And honestly, by this point, you'll never look at a diet plan the same way again. Because every one of them is selling you a story about the past that the past never actually lived. We have more food than any humans in history, and somehow we've turned it into a source of constant anxiety. Our ancestors had almost nothing, and their only rule was, be flexible enough to still be here tomorrow. Next time you scroll past a paleo ad, just remember, the real paleo diet was simply eating whatever didn't eat you first.